Hi, everybody. This is Lee McQueen, and I'm just talking about the Trans-Pacific Partnership and what it looks like the current political status of this uh, monstrous trade deal is in light of shifting on the chessboard. Bernie Sanders endorsing Hillary Clinton, and then also the resistance of the Hillary Clinton wing of the Democrat National Platform Committee to consider removing support for Trans-Pacific Partnership from the platform. So just seeing what the status is and how things look, and I glanced around the old internet and I read up a little bit, and it's strange that there is bipartisan support for this trade deal. There's also bipartisan opposition to the trade deal. It's looking like there is agreement that this trade deal will not be addressed prior to the recess for the summer. And then after the Congress comes back after Labor Day, there'll just be too much chaos prior to the election, and so people are thinking it's going to be taken up after the lame duck section, during the lame duck session of Congress, after the election, after the November election, because the chessboard will have been moved or overturned completely um, this election season, and so it's looking more like it'll be during the lame duck session. Although there's some thinking that maybe even then it won't be a good time to take up the Trans-Pacific Partnership. Chuck Grassley, Republican senator from Iowa, gave an interview to Iowa Public Radio. He supports the Trans-Pacific Partnership, and he doesn't really support anything else about Barack Obama, so that's saying something. He supports it from a national security point of view. For Chuck Grassley, the Trans-Pacific Partnership represents national security. He's saying that it's a way to counteract the dominance of China in the Pacific, because China is not part of the Trans-Pacific Partnership. It's mostly a U.S. dominated trade deal. China wants its own trade deal with Asian nations. And so Chuck Grassley is saying we've got to counter China's trade dominance in the Pacific over other Asian nations. Mitch McConnell, Republican from Kentucky, is thinking that it may not be possible to pass this trade deal even during the lame duck session. He's just saying that the support is so volatile for this trade deal. There's been so much opposition to it that even despite Barack Obama's lobbying, the fact that the two major party candidates, Donald Trump and Hillary Clinton, have expressed opposition, and I think Trump's opposition has been more forceful, and the fact that Hillary Clinton's battle with Bernie Sanders has brought Trans-Pacific Partnership to public notice, and we can thank Bernie Sanders for doing that. He brought a lot of issues to notice that people would have let slide by if he hadn't have been in a race, and so that was his importance to inspire and energize and raise issues to be addressed by the electorate. Trans-Pacific Partnership was only one, but it's certainly not to be overlooked for sure. So there's different schools of thought on Trans-Pacific Partnership. Donald Trump is pretty suspicious that Hillary Clinton doesn't mean it when she says she's against it. He's been goading her, and she has not been responding. Donald Trump's pretty convinced that Hillary Clinton's opposition is cosmetic, the same way that Bill Clinton's opposition to NAFTA was cosmetic. He was against it before he was for it, and then NAFTA was pushed through Congress, and here we are. Paul Ryan, also Republican, he actually helped to write fast track rules to fast track Trans-Pacific Partnership through Congress. Chuck Schumer says he does not believe that Trans-Pacific Partnership is going to or should pass Congress in its current form. That it apparently needs some work, and then it may be acceptable. And so Chuck Schumer is thinking not during the lame duck session. So there's different schools of thought. It will go through the lame duck session. It will not. There was an interview with Hillary Clinton's advisor, one of her advisors that's been with her since the State Department. That advisor is Kurt Campbell, and he gave an interview with an Australian newspaper saying that Hillary Clinton's opposition to Trans-Pacific Partnership is just meaningless campaign rhetoric, which I think we already knew. But this is confirmation from one of her advisors. This advisor, Campbell, is saying that Congress will approve Trans-Pacific Partnership through the lame duck session. And those who vote for it will cite their support and their respect for Barack Obama. And it's pretty, like I mentioned earlier, it's pretty similar to what Bill Clinton did with NAFTA. They're going to describe or brand this push for Trans-Pacific Partnership as a pivot to Asia. And to tell the truth, that does sound like Clintonian logic and language. It's classic Clintonian logic and language. But, I mean, again, just like Bernie Sanders provided warnings, early warning, he served as an early warning system against Trans-Pacific Partnership, just the same as Ross Perot did for NAFTA. People didn't listen to Ross Perot. He was very blunt. He said there's going to be a giant sucking sound of jobs leaving this country, and it was more like a toilet flushing of jobs leaving this country. Ross Perot told us, and people kind of said, "Oh, you're so funny," and then there's a giant sucking sound. And so Bernie Sanders sounded the early warning system on Trans-Pacific Partnership, and has America learned anything? You know, this trade deal is basically going to allow U.S. Law and regulation to be dominated by foreign tribunals. They will rule over U.S. borders, our food supply, our drugs, our energy, the same way I described Germany's energy policy and how that would be declared illegal, the use of renewables, if certain mega corporations, feel that their profits aren't being acknowledged. They'll declare it illegal. And then also the internet. The freedom for internet access and usage might be subjugated to the Trans-Pacific Partnership. So there's a lot of issues surrounding the Trans-Pacific Partnership. There are many viewpoints. There are many different reasons that people support or oppose this deal. But I think it's a really good idea to pay attention to the status of the deal, the lobbying efforts, the motivations and agendas that people have for and against Trans-Pacific Partnership. It should never pass just because we didn't know anything about it or we didn't have an opinion on it. We all need to know what TPP is and how it affects us. And so we can kind of educate ourselves and then watch what our Congress is trying to do, what their positions are. Are they representing the people, or are they representing the president, which they're not supposed to do? They're supposed to represent the people, not the president, and then certainly not mega multinational corporations. So that's another thing that we can occupy ourselves with. This is something that's so big, so large. It's almost like a litmus test. You're either for it or against it, and that should have an influence on our November voting. I do believe this is our future of our nation, our sovereignty and safety and security as a nation, and then even our health and happiness as people of these nations. So let's all kind of watch and pray when it comes to Trans-Pacific Partnership.